This is Elemental Shaman versus Death Knight and a Druid versus Paladin Healer pretty much. It's a TSG versus Holy Elite Arms, both warriors. Both of the Death Knight and the Shaman are very squishy. My Shaman has like 600 resilience. That Death Knight has roughly the same. He's pretty squishy. And even though it looks like we straight out RNG this team, there was a bunch of factors that came into play that allowed us to set up this burst and get the kill as quickly as we do. They don't play it as well as they should. They make some healing mistakes, they make a positioning error, and I'll cover that in a second, and how it's not entirely RNG, although that was pretty epic RNG on the Death Knight and an Elemental Mastery. Overall, I would say that should this match have gone long and not gotten just a random global on someone, we would have won just because Elemental does have the upper hand versus a TSG on this variation of it. So a longer match we probably would have won just because we have the hard hex versus the gargoyle, and the heroism helps a ton on putting pressure out for the healer to fight off against. So I'm going to replay the match right here in a second and pause it in 3 or 4 places so that you can see how it's been set up. I'll pause it. So we jump out, and right at the gate starts, what they should have done is gripped my Shaman. Straight out of position, he probably would have had to throw down his roots, gotten a freedom, thunderstormed, gone Ghost Wolf and tried to bail. They just needed to throw down on him and start the DK with the setup. So they're charging in. I'm going to make sure I'm out of range of the warrior's triple stun charge and stay away. There's the warrior fear ahead of time, and right here he's out of position, so I'm queuing up my piercing howl to make sure they all stay pinned back there, and the Death Knight has just line of sighted his druid, so he's not going to be gaining any more hots. He's got a 3 stack of life bloom, 1 rejuvenation, but the druid has to move around to the side to get in range for it. He can get hexed from there. We do have heroism up. This was bad positioning. They should have just tried to chains me to the ground and stun my Shaman out of position, and it would have helped if they could have gotten him out of position before the match actually started. Right here, they're moving back out into the open. My Shaman's kited into the middle. My Paladin's out there, and I'm going to pause it right about here. This is Recklessness up with the end of my Deadly Calm and my Trinket proc. There's a Nourish going off. The life blooms have just ticked off. If he wants to nature Swiftness, he can for a regrowth, but his Swiftman is still down because he just used it in the animations on the ground, so it's got about 15 to 20 seconds left before it can go off and top this DK. So I've blown every cooldown with Heroism up. My Shaman is going to EM Lava Burst just to put out as much damage as I can and switch the DK. I have Recklessness up. My plan is going to be Heroic Strike, Mortal Strike. The Mortal Strike will eat the Lamps to the Slaughter up and hit for about 25k, because that's just the base damage for it. That's what it hits for. It might be higher, it might be lower, I don't remember. And then the Overpower is going to crit on its own because of its Overpower, and then I should get another Overpower because of the way the Rin ticks roll over. So the Intercept stun goes off. This is where you should have IBF'd. My Shaman is going to set up for the Elemental Mastery Lava Burst. It doesn't go off. He doesn't need it. My RNG beat his free global from rooting the warrior again, which refreshed his DR if you can see my DR tracker. They hodged the warrior in his Recklessness because he wanted to go for a counter kill as quickly as possible on my Shaman. That was the EM Lava Burst, unless it was running while walking, but we're so far ahead on this match with the kill already and enough pressure out on this druid that it doesn't matter. The Recklessness got stunned. We could have switched to him and probably killed the warrior just as quickly because he takes 20% damage as opposed to my 3 crits. But we wanted to kill the druid because druid warrior is still a very deadly comp to face even on a 2v3. So we set that up right. You can hopefully see how it's not just raw RNG that got the kill, that it actually was the setup. And if you enjoyed this, comment, rate, and subscribe.